Welcome back to the Wellness on Purpose podcast. If you're new here, our intention is to provide you with impactful, educational, and realistic information to help you progress on your journey to live wellness on purpose now and for future generations. This podcast is brought to you by Joanne's Place Health Foods, which is located in Peterborough and Lindsay, Ontario. My name is Marissa Laughlin. I am a holistic nutritionist and your host for the podcast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Wellness on Purpose podcast. In today's episode, I have asked Irene Pauline from Living Alchemy to join us to talk about immunity, gut health, and how they work synergistically together. The immune system and gut health are two very trendy topics in the wellness industry right now, but I assure you, they are more than just a trend. They are both the foundation to our overall health and affect so many areas of our well-being, including our mental health. Before we get into all those good details on the immune system and gut health, let's welcome Irene onto the podcast. Good morning, Irene. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast, and I'm really looking forward to diving into talking about immunity and gut health with you today. But before we do get into all of that juicy detail, can you just share with our listeners a little bit about who you are, your role at Living Alchemy, and then also about Living Alchemy as a company?
Perfect. Yes, I'd love to. So, my name's Irene Pauline. I am a holistic health practitioner, and I work with clients online through my own practice. And I started this journey in the natural health realm about 10 years ago when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I went through both conventional medicine and holistic medicine, self-taught myself a lot of everything in the holistic world and practice a lot of different mediums to be able to be where I am today. And then I furthered my education in as a certified nutritional practitioner. And currently, I work with Living Alchemy as the manager of education and marketing. So, Living Alchemy, I love this company. And what Living Alchemy is all about is whole food supplements. And they've really stepped up that whole category to make them living whole food supplements. And so, it's like no other. It's an award winning, innovative fermentation process, which I can't wait to share with you on this session. And we have supplements from everything. We specialize in digestive care that work with immunity, everything from pain relief to your fermented foods, getting that into your diet. So there's something for everybody.
Amazing. I can't wait to talk about those products in more detail in just a minute because I've been using Living Alchemy products for several years. I love the Warrior. I love all of the probiotics. I think I've tried almost all of them. Just such a really amazing and unique brand. There's really nothing quite like Living Alchemy on the market because all of the products are created using a different fermentation process. So can you break down that process and tell us why Living Alchemy has kind of chosen to create their products around that method versus some of the other traditional ways of making supplement products?
Yes. So symbio, which is that symbiosis that takes place between our living culture fermentation. So this is what is so unique on the market. That living culture fermentation includes water-based kefir grains, or some people say kefir grains, and a living culture of kombucha. So it's the kombucha SCOBY and kefir grains that live symbiotically together. And this is that small batch fermentation that is fermenting with whole foods and whole herbs. So we ferment different things like turmeric root with the kefir kombucha. We ferment soybean with the kefir kombucha, ashwagandha, holy basil, all this kind of goodness, a lot of plant medicine that is activated through the fermentation process. So it makes it bioavailable, it makes it highly absorbable, and this is why the products are so effective and award-winning and just provide so much healing to the body that the body can intuitively recognize this whole food activated state that allows for a high key dose of therapeutic nutrients to provide that healing for the body that we all really need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need that healing, and we also need it in the most bioavailable forms for absorptions. So we can see that quick turnaround, whether it's inflammation or our gut health or immunity. We want those products to be easily accessible for our bodies to digest them and also absorb those nutrients. So specifically, Living Alchemy has the Symbiotic Flora line, and this is what would be comparable to a probiotic line. But can you talk about what the differences would be and how they compare to standard probiotics?
Yes, of course. So your Flora Symbiotic, this is the line that is just renowned for Living Alchemy. It is life changing for a lot of customers suffering from digestive issues. And so your Flora Symbiotics is very different than your conventional probiotic. And this is because it is 100% plant based. Whole food ingredients is what is used. No synthetics, no laboratory altered strains that are grown in a petri dish to create a certain amount of billions or trillions in CFU counts. That is not what we believe in. We believe in allowing fermented foods to provide that healing to the gut. And this is really, it creates an ecosystem in its own, having that living culture do the fermentation naturally. So this is an ecosystem that's being created through the symbiote process that is then transformed into that capsule base that works to only improve your own ecosystem. So it's food for the ecosystem, your gut microbiome. And this is what really helps to encourage your own flora. It does not dictate your flora like conventional probiotics would. It's not inputting certain strains that stick around if you continue using that probiotic. It's food for your microbes that feed your microbes. And this is what we need to do because we all have a diverse array of microbes and everyone has a different ecosystem. So providing it that nutrient automatically enhances it. So this is where it's an ecosystem in a capsule. It encourages your own flora, your flora symbiotics, as well as it includes enzymes, peptides, short chain fatty acids, the important prebiotics and postbiotics, all within one capsule. So that is also key because that's convenience, right? You don't have to take a bunch of different supplements all throughout the day. With our Your Flora Symbiotic, it covers all your bases and it has very high colonizing factor. So very effective for people going through all different types of digestive issues that I know will also really specify which Your Flora Symbiotic is for who. And I also do want to mention that all of our products, Living Alchemy products, are USDA organic ingredients, a non-GMO project verified, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, no artificial flavors, colors, enhancements, nothing like that. We keep it as clean as possible, which is Living Alchemy's philosophy for all Living Alchemy products.
I love that. It really speaks to the standard of Living Alchemy as a brand with all the certifications and creating a product that has no compromise in terms of having artificial ingredients in there. So I love that. I want to circle back to talk about gut health and how you kind of highlighted the gut microbiome because what we know is that gut health has kind of become this trendy word that's being used a lot in the wellness industry. And it's kind of a blanket term for some things, but it is also a very important topic to discuss, which is what we're going to dive into today, obviously. But what some people might not know is that the importance of gut health really is the foundation for everything else in our body. It really is so, so important. It's not just a trend, it really is a driving force to so many other things, and specifically immunity as well. So, can you talk about why our gut health is so important to make a priority in our wellness journey when we want to support our immune system?
Yes. So it all starts in the gut, and this is what, as a practitioner, I always focus on. If people are coming in for skin irritations or brain fog or hormonal disruptions, anything like that, it starts with healing the gut, and that is because 70 to 80% of our immune system lives in our gut, and specifically where in our gut, this is in our digestive lining. So, this is where our digestive lining nowadays has been so compromised through all different sorts of stressors, external stressors, internal stressors. And so, this takes a toll on our digestive health. It weakens good microbes, so our mucosa lining, and then it starts to further get into the digestive lining where it impairs that lining, causing gaps in it. So this is where a lot of us suffer from leaky gut these days. It's very prominent. And it's why our immune system is so compromised. It's because it's being overworked and it's always on high radar of stressors and pathogens entering into our system. So this is where we have to work to strengthen that digestive lining. That will strengthen our immune system. Our immune system, that first responders team, communicates through the digestive lining. And this is where it communicates to help us protect ourselves against any invaders that might be entering. And so once we work on strengthening the gut microbiome, it's going to work to enhance the whole body microbiome. So it can fight off any invaders that might come through our digestion, our respiratory system, or even skin contact. And that's the role of the immune system throughout the whole body. But it starts with the gut to help strengthen that. So that's why it's so important. And I'm glad that more and more people are talking about it and that it is becoming trendy because it is something that we need to work to strengthen right now.
Absolutely. So, how would someone know if their gut health was compromised?
Yeah, so there's a long list of symptoms that can appear when your gut health is compromised. And this looks different from person to person. But on the severe end of things, if you are making bowel movements and you're seeing blood in your stools, this is where it's showing a lot of inflammation, tears, a lot of harm is being caused in the intestines. This is where you want to be seen by your healthcare practitioner. This is the severe end of things. On a daily basis, if you're not making at least one bowel movement a day, this is essential. You're consuming 2 to 3 meals a day. You should be at least making one solid bowel movement. So checking out what's happening when you're going to the washroom, this is important. As well as if your gut health is compromised, you might see something like more food sensitivities occur, or allergies occur, or these odd skin irritations or mystery rashes happening. I've been seeing a lot of that in the past year with clients. This is concerning. This is showing something's happening with the immune system and your gut health is not as strong as it could be. So those are some key symptoms you want to look out for, as well as constant bloating, gas, and stomach pains. This is not something that should be consistent. This means there's a lot of congestion that's happening, a lot of breakdown that's not happening. And then this can also cause a lot of brain fog, a lot of lack of focus, concentration. And so this is what you want to look out for. I know this is a long list of symptoms that can appear for compromised gut health. A lot of us are going through these different issues, and a lot of the population has a compromised gut microbiome. And this is where new studies are actually showing that IBD is the second most common chronic inflammatory disease worldwide after rheumatoid arthritis. So it's something that we need to take care of so it doesn't get to that severe state. So look out for these signs and do work with your healthcare team. And we'll be talking about some solutions to help too.
In regards to gut health in connection to immunity, so you mentioned some symptoms there that might be connected of common colds and flus, but is there any other symptoms that would indicate that someone's immune system was weak?
Yeah, so identifying when your immune system is weak is really when your body's tired. When you are tired, your cells are tired, your immune system is tired. It's been overworking itself for all day, all night, 24/7. This is where we have to provide some healing to the immune system to help balance it out. Symptoms that you'd be seeing, or signs, I should say, would be frequent bruising. You find that scars aren't healing properly. You're getting frequent colds and infections, and they're lasting longer than usual. Perhaps previous parasites or fungus or yeast infections have been reoccurring more so. If this has been happening for more than a year, then it's really showing that you need to work on healing your immune system. And if you're seeing food sensitivities and allergies appear, this is showing that your immune system is being affected and it needs some extra care.
Good to know. So, in terms of things that impact the gut lining, what would you say are the top three things that start to degrade the gut lining?
There is a long list, that is for sure. So, the top three things I would say, and I'll provide solutions too, because that's what we need to hear. We need to take action. Number one thing would be stress and fear. When our nervous system is overstimulated and in harm's way, or what it perceives as harm's way, this impairs every system in the body. The solution that I'm encouraging is stillness and peacefulness and bringing more awareness and mindfulness to your day. If this looks like being in nature, if this looks like locking yourself in the washroom for 15 minutes to get away from the hectic home, whatever you need to do to take that time. If it's journaling or reading a book or meditation or yoga or just something as simple as focusing on your breath, we need to relax that nervous system and promote more peace and love and joy in our day to day. So that's going to be the number one thing that we can do right now to help improve our gut health, help improve our immune system. The second item that impacts our gut health would be that lack of movement. A lot of the population is sedentary, and this is where we need to, get up and move more so. If it's walking the dog instead of putting the dog in the backyard to go to the washroom, if it's carrying our groceries instead of using the shopping cart, the stairs instead of the elevator. So it's just these mindful moments that also encourage more movement in our day. I'm not saying overexertion with exercise. I'm saying just include more movement wherever you can. And then, of course, our food choices. This makes a big impact on our gut health. We're consuming more processed foods. This is a direct impact to our gut health, obviously. That good bacteria is not surviving because we're not feeding it the right nutrients. And that's not always our fault because our food supply is not what it used to be. Our soil is not what it is used to be. Our air quality is compromised. So doing what we can, shopping at your local farmer's market, shopping direct at the farm if you can, if you have access, or even just the perimeter of the grocery store. And that's what I encourage: less processed, less packaged foods as much as possible. And that's where I like to say a real whole food diet, homemade is best made. So I hope, I don't want to scare anyone. And so that's why I love suggesting the solutions when it comes to what impacts our health.
Yeah, because what you said in terms of like taking action, because there's so many things that do impact our gut health that we could literally talk for days about on a podcast episode, but we don't have that time. But those three things are realities for people: stress, eating, and movement. Those are things that every single person should be prioritizing amongst other things in their life. I see so many people trying to incorporate all of these superfoods or try these really restrictive diets or change all of these things, but their stress level is through the roof and they don't realize that that alone has such a big impact on the gut health. And if you can't get that down pat and start to prioritize more calming in your life, then it's going to be really hard for you to stay in an optimal health and optimal well-being space.
Exactly. You've got it. Those, three items that I mentioned, there's varying solutions to each one, right? All the different exercises and health programs and diet plans and everything like that. But it really comes down to what works for you and tuning into your gut, listening to your gut and figuring out what makes you happy. And if it's going for a walk instead of that run that day, that's okay. If it's having that cake and eating whatever what feels right to you in that moment, just as long as you're not being hard on yourself and you're listening to the body, that's what's so important right now.
Absolutely. So, when we're looking at trying to heal the gut lining and then also focus on our immunity, where does one start? Like, do you start with the gut function first, or do you start by modulating your immune system?
Right. So the body's magnificent. It's able to multitask and it's going to operate 24/7. So it can do it all at the same time. But where do we start? I would be suggesting start with healing the gut, because when you're healing the gut, it's going to provide that double benefit, kind of like that 2-for-1. So you're going to automatically help to restore that intestinal mucosa. That means your good bacteria are going to replicate and thrive when you're given a good, healthy ecosystem. That means that digestive lining is going to be enhanced so that your immune system can, it's that 70 to 80% of your immune system living in that lining is going to be strong and it's going to be balanced. And that's what you want to achieve with your immune health as well. So heal the gut, you get double the benefits. So that's a good place to start.
Awesome. I think that's a great place to start. And what I will say about when we talk about healing the gut lining, first and foremost, be patient with that process, because depending on how much damage you've done over the years, or not necessarily that you've done intentionally, but that's been done to the gut lining and you not know, could take months to years to have that healing effect to happen, which shouldn't like deter you from starting to heal your gut, but just be patient with that process. It will look different for everybody.
To add to that, because that's such a good point, consistency is key, patience. But if you've been suffering from, say, leaky gut for 5 years on and off, well, you don't want to keep suffering for another 5 years or more, right? So this is where I really like to include supplementation. Supplementation is secondary. It's your food choices, your daily activities that is number one, but supplementation is secondary, and it's essential though. And this is because it's going to help to speed up that healing process so that you don't continue to suffer for years to come. You want to get things moving, get things healing, and assist the body because it's working 24/7. Whatever we can do to help it and not harm it is so important.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, so on the topic of supplementation, I would love just to kind of talk through a couple scenarios that I see on a regular basis in Joanne's place when people are coming in looking for support. So, first, if someone's coming in suffering with digestive disturbances, or maybe they've been recently diagnosed with a general IBS diagnosis, they're really fatigued, they know their immunity is low, what products from Living Alchemy would you recommend for them to start right away?
Right. Okay. So they've just newly been diagnosed on and off IBS, and it is general. So that means it could be constipation or diarrhea mixed in that sense. So the best place to start is your flora sensitive. So I'm suggesting sensitive. It is targeted for IBS, and this is specifically for mixed because it's helping to calm the nervous system. The nervous system is so interconnected with the gut and the brain, the gut brain axis. You might have heard this term before as well. When we work to calm our vagus nerve that connects the brain and the gut, this is going to help really create that balance for the whole body so that you're not being constantly irritated by the digestive tract, and you're soothing the nervous system. So your flora sensitive does this because it has supporting herbs in it like lemon balm and peppermint. That's calming the nervous system. The main medicinal ingredient in the Your Flora Sensitive and all of our Your Flora products is kefi soy. This is what's the healing power. This is what's going to restore that digestive lining, provide that good ecosystem, feed your good bacteria, and allow it to thrive. So Your Flora Sensitive is your starting point for IBS general. And I would be taking 1 to 2 capsules a day, kind of morning and night if you can spread it out, or if you prefer, just 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. And then we need something further support the immune system right now. And that's where I would suggest defense. Defense includes fermented, wonderful antifungal, antibacterial herbs like garlic, oregano, thyme. So a lot of herbs that are going to help fight off any pathogens that we might incur as we are out there being social, as we're, kind of dealing with cold and flu season, and extended kind of years of it. So defense is a go-to, 1 to 2 capsules a day. You can take up to 3, if you've got your colleague beside you starting to get the sniffles, you can always increase the dose when you need it. And if you're fighting something in the midst of a cold and flu, we have an extra strength version of the defense with Living Alchemy as well.
Can your flora sensitive symbiotic be taken at the same time as a defense, or do you recommend taking them at different times?
Yeah, so really consistency is key. It's you can take them together, you can take them apart, whatever allows you to remember to take them. And yes, you can spread them out throughout the day to make it more effective. I just suggest with supplements, not taking it with any other medications or caffeine. You just don't want anything to affect the absorption. You want to make sure that you're utilizing everything in the capsule. So that's the only thing I would suggest there.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned with a general IBS, it can go either which way in terms of diarrhea or constipation, but there's also more specific diagnoses for people who are just suffering with constipation and just suffering with diarrhea. Would you still recommend those Living Alchemy products, the sensitive and the defense for those individuals, or is there specific ones for people who suffer with constipation and specific ones who suffer with people with diarrhea?
Yes. So Your flora symbiotics have been designed so that they are targeted to those different types of digestive issues that we're going through. There's a whole line of your flora symbiotics to choose from. How you choose is based on your digestive constitution or your gut goals. And this is where if it's diarrhea, you would look towards your flora terrain. So terrain includes, yes, the Pefi soy, which is the healing property that's doing all the work to help to improve the ecosystem. That's the symbiotic there. And it includes those complementary herbs like aloe vera, slippery elm, and marshmallow root. So that's going to help alleviate your symptoms right away. So that's going to help with diarrhea, and that's your flora terrain. And then for constipation, you've got your flora regenesis. And it says it right on the box. It says slow transit and post antibiotics. So if you have daily constipation, taking your flora regenesis, 1 to 3 capsules a day. It includes the Pefi soy, the symbiotic in there, plus the herbs that are going to support your symptoms, which is chicory and artichoke. So these herbs are also great because they're extra prebiotics that are further going to assist the liver. And I do like suggesting your flora regenesis if you have been on a round of antibiotics. Antibiotics can wipe out your good microflora for up to almost a year, just one round of antibiotics. So you want to look towards including our your flora symbiotic after you've taken a antibiotic, or during is what I like to do personally. During and after is important if you can. If not, just taking it after is a great step as well.
So, just a recap for somebody who has an IBS general diagnosis, you're recommending the sensitive. For somebody who has constipation, you're recommending the Regenesis.
Yes, that's right.
And then for diarrhea, you're recommending the terrain.
That's right.
Okay,
And
perfect.
in addition, I would just add that defense, adding that one in to further help balance the immune system. And that's what's important right now, too.
Absolutely. Okay, another scenario, if that's okay.
Of course.
Customer comes in with severe digestive issues. They say they have tried everything. They've tried every conventional probiotic, doesn't seem to work. They've been to the doctors, they've done testing. They don't have a diagnosis of anything, but they've been suffering with years of irregularities in their digestive bowel movements and just maybe even some inflammatory disease in the bowels as well. Is there a specific product that you would recommend for this individual?
Yes, so that is exactly the reason we made your flora professional, because there's so many people that are suffering from mystery kind of diagnosis with, or undiagnosis, I should say, but severe digestive issues are going on. And they've tried a lot of different things, and that's where your flora professional is a great option to give a try to. This one includes no herbs in it. So it is just 400 milligrams, so a higher dose of the medicinal ingredient, which is that Kefi soy. So that's a higher ingredient of that. So it's stronger relief. You only have to take 1 to 2 capsules of the Your Flora Professional. And why I like there's no herbs in this one, because sometimes herbs can cause contraindications with medications. Also, not all herbs are great for pregnancy or breastfeeding. So Your Flora Professional is also a good one to incorporate for anyone kind of along those sides.
Awesome. That's great. And then there's also those individuals who claim that their gut health is absolutely perfect, which I really think is so rare because we have contact with so many things that can create different inflammation responses or stress responses in our gut lining. But for those who have really good gut health already, or even if they have just been working really hard on their gut health for some time, what would you recommend them take to support their immunity through the cold season? Would it be just the defense, or would it be the defense with another product or another product in general?
Yeah, so that's great. Definitely defense on a daily basis. And you would always want to incorporate, a symbiotic in this case. And this is where we have one for general support, and that's your flora family. So your flora family has the medicinal ingredient in it that's providing a strong gut ecosystem. And it also has the organic blueberry and organic bananas in there. And so that's extra nourishment. And that still also includes the prebiotics, the enzymes, and all those nutrients within. So you could just take 1 to 2 a day and, increase it if you need to up to 3. And that's your flora family.
Okay. Now, speaking of family, we see a lot of parents coming in looking for supplementation for their kids. So, for kids' immunity, reducing their duration of their colds, do you have any suggestions for parents in what they could supplement for their kids?
Yes, okay. So all Living Alchemy's products right now are for adult use. And of course, it's up to the parent or the guardian for what they choose to give to their children. And this is where I know a lot of amazing testimonials about how the products work for kids as well. Up to the discretion of the parents, but do know that all of Living Alchemy products are certified organic, whole foods, whole ingredients, non-GMO, no fillers, no isolates. So we keep it as clean as possible. And that's important when it comes to providing nourishment to kids. So keep that in mind. I know personally for my little niece, she asked for her belly candy, and we open up the capsule of the Your Flora Symbiotic and we sprinkle it on her palm and she just licks it up. And that's her belly candy. And that's Your Flora family. That's the best one for little kids. And this one includes the banana and blueberries. So it tastes yummy. That's why she loves it. And I make a really great on Living Alchemy's website, kefir kombucha coconut yogurt. And I make that yogurt, coconut yogurt with the Your Flora family. So that's a great way to do it, including it in probiotic popsicles, which I've done for the little ones before too. What's important is with kids, you want to start low and you want to start with a skin test. So I encourage everybody with little ones to open up the capsule, take a little bit of the powder, a little bit of water on the forearm, and just see, if an irritation occurs, and then, proceed that way. But start with just half a capsule, and you can open up all Living Alchemy products, of course, but they all taste very herby and earthy. So the one that I like is Your Flora family. That's the one that tastes yummy with the blueberries and the bananas. So you can put this one in apple juice or in yogurt or applesauce or smoothies and that kind of thing. So you can sprinkle the half a capsule in foods to start, and increase as you need. But that's a great solution.
Yeah, I remember doing a staff training with Joanne's Place and Living Alchemy. I would say probably 5 years ago now. And I remember that we all went around and opened the capsules and we all tried them. And I was just so amazed. I mean, yes, the terrain and sensitive, they do have this like light herby taste to them, but still like completely chewable. Like it was very palatable, I guess I should say, very easy to take. So if you are an adult and just have trouble swallowing pills, you could also open up all these capsules, which is great.
Yeah, I find when I am getting like tickles in my throat, just feeling like, oh, maybe, or if it's, I've been talking too much, lecturing a lot, anything like that, throat irritation, I open up the fence and sprinkle the powder down my throat. And it's just, fermented garlic, oregano, thyme. So just kind of kills out anything that might be causing any irritation or bad bacteria occurring or anything like that. And I mean, you get the garlic aftertaste, but it's also yummy. It kind of tastes like pizza topping. So I know some parents that sprinkle it on like their kids' spaghetti and hide it in the spaghetti because it just fermented oregano and thyme and garlic. So it's a nice seasoning as well, but it is supplements. So don't go overboard with it because it tastes so good.
That's a great idea. I should definitely try that. Okay, last question for you. Do you think that people should only prioritize their immune system during this time of year, being cold and flu season, or do you believe that everyone should be supporting their immune system year round?
Yeah, I'm doing air quotes, this time of the year, cold and flu season happened. I think that's maybe a pre 2020 term, because nowadays it's all year round, right? So we need to be supporting our health. Number one, natural immunity, building strong immunity. And so this is where it's important to prioritize it now, all year round. And I'm not saying boosting your immune system. I'm saying strengthen. I'm saying balance it, because you don't want it to be operating in this really high functioning zone. And when anything enters your system, it's attacking, right? That's where immunocompromised conditions can come up. And so that's not what you want to do. You don't want it to be highly, running at 120 kilometers an hour, highly operating in a high red zone. You want it to be strong. And so providing extra nourishment, extra rest, extra water, including supplements. This is what's going to help you during the year. So I hope I provided some great tips and solutions, and I hope everyone got to learn a little bit more about Living Alchemy and how it works for them. And I encourage you to try the product and provide any feedback. Living Alchemy, we're so open to it, and you can review us online or call us directly. We're active on social media, and we would love to hear from our customers. We always do, and we hear amazing feedback. So that's why we do it, and that's what's really important to us, is making sure people have the tools and that they're feeling good when they're using Living Alchemy products.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Irene. You provided so much great information. And I think it's really important for people who are getting a diagnosis of IBS to understand that there are different diagnosis of that and what that could look like, because a product might work better for you if you're targeting your specific condition, whether it's constipation, diarrhea, or mix. So thank you so much for providing that, along with all the other amazing information. Everyone definitely go check out Living Alchemy's website. It's so aesthetically beautiful and easy to follow. And then also their social media. So thank you so much for joining us today, Irene. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And I wish all your listeners the very best in their health. So take care, everyone.
Thanks again for joining us today, Irene, and sharing your wealth of knowledge. Also, thank you guys so much for tuning in for today's episode. If you want to learn more about these products, please pop into any of our Joanne's Place locations and talk to a supplement specialist.
All right, that wraps up today's episode, and you guys know what to do next. Be sure to hit subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss a notification as soon as a new episode is released, and be sure to continue to share on social media that you're listening to the Wellness on Purpose podcast.